Hello and welcome to the facial anatomy part of this course. There's a lot of information to cover here, but it's not really all that centered around the muscles. The anatomy of the face has a lot more to do with the skull than it does any of the muscles. The form of your entire brow area, your cheeks, your forehead, your chin, your jawline, all of that are established by bones. Bones are the most important part of the face. If you don't have a clear sense of the bones, then you won't have a clear sense of the face. The muscles are largely going to be useful to us in terms of triangulating plane changes, but they become more important when we get into expressions. So right now we want to make sure that we have as clear an understanding of the skull as possible. So we are going to build a skull from scratch, from a sphere, so to speak. And then along the way, we're going to take a look at some reference. We're going to take a look at the face itself, some sculpts, and just see what we can pick up. One of the first things that we need to be aware of when we are sculpting the face, though, is just the circular area of the cranium, and then the wedge-shaped section of the lower face. So this being a wedge, as in straight across and down. So this wedge has to do with where your jaw is. It has to do with where and how far out your chin is pulling itself, things of that nature. But most of the things that are really important to us, the brow, the glabella, the cheeks in terms of the width of the face, are happening right up here in the eye area. And we're going to want to make sure that we have a clear understanding not only of the simple forms, but in this case, about 10 or so very specific landmarks. So I want to talk for a second about those landmarks before we jump in and talk about the simple forms. The landmarks that we want to be aware of are the overhang at the corner of the eye. So it's called the supraorbital margin. We have the glabella. The glabella sits below the superciliary arch. So glabella. We have the overhang at the eye right here, glabella, superciliary arch. We have nasal ridge, zygomatic, or the cheek, chin, angle of the jaw. We have the frontal eminence, right here. We have the temporal line, right there. We have a step down from the eminence to the temporal line, and then the side of the face. Then if we dig deeper, inside here we see the frontal process of the maxilla. And that's something we're definitely going to take a look at and try our best to understand. We have the frontal process, and then if you dig deeper in there, you've got what's called the lacrimal bone. Chances are you've never even thought to understand the lacrimal bone. But if you don't know about the lacrimal bone, it's going to be hard to understand the skulls, the inside of the eye. How about these guys right here? You might call those eyelids, but have you ever heard the term palpebral ligament? If you read Gray's Anatomy before you go to sleep, not the TV show, but the book, then you might have picked that up. So this palpebral ligament on the outside and on the inside, has a really specific structure that we look at. We're going to look at the difference between the palpebral ligament and then the eye itself, so the orbicularis oculi, things like that. But like I said, the first step for us is to get in and start to understand the bones of the face. And so we've kind of hit a couple of the points: frontal eminence, superciliary arch, glabella, chin, angle of the jaw, zygomatic bone, temporal line. Let's go in now with those guys in our mind and start from scratch to create a skull the best we can.